guys, I'm sorry I wasn't at class today, but I wanted to show you a couple of things that you need to know when working on your plaque or mask. Alright, first, you're going to get clay. And when you get your clay, you're going to roll it out to be a slab. Making sure that your clay doesn't stick to your table. Roll, flip. Roll, flip. Now, I want my plaque to be a rectangular shape, so I'm not going to mess around too much with this. Based on how you roll it, it will give you circular shapes, so on and so forth. If you notice, I am not rolling all the way to the end. If I did roll to the end, you would notice that the clay would be inconsistent in the thickness, meaning here it would be nice and thick, and here it would get a little skinnier. Watch out for that because that can be really frustrating. Now when you roll out your clay, I want it to be the thickness of an Oreo cookie, not double stuffed. If your clay is too thin, it becomes fragile. If your clay is too thick, well then it takes too long to dry. Alright, now here's some tools you're going to need. You're going to need a barbecue skewer, and this will be used for your incising and your applique. You also are going to need a hoop tool. This is a great tool for carving specifically because you can just sit and scoop or remove clay as you work. Now one trick, once you have your design drawn out to the size you want, you can put it directly over your clay. I'm just making sure that it's nice and it's meeting off the edges. And when doing this, I can take my barbecue skewer and I can kind of outline this. A lot of students say to me, Mrs. Moore, it's cutting my paper. Well, that's okay. If you want an exact size or get the size and depth that you need, it's okay to do this. So I'm just tracing my piece. Another thing that I want to point out is making sure that this is nice and thick. If it's too skinny, it creates a weak area. I'm going to just lift it up. Need that line to be a little bit thicker. And then now I'm just going to go back over my lines so I can see them a little bit better. Oops, I didn't like that. I went in too much. I'm going to go smooth that over. Just go ahead and give that line a little bit more thickness. Alright, so you'll notice that when I went into my lines, they're not super deep. Like I was able to run my finger over to clear up any mistakes that I have. Now that it's in place in the way that I want it, then I can actually take my barbecue skewer and I can use it as a device to actually cut my clay. The background is the first thing you need to think of. This extra clay I'm going to be able to use for applique in a little bit. Now, I said that I wanted to make a paintbrush, but before I do so, I want to carve out my paint blobs so I know where they are. Here's my carving, and here's one paint blob that I'm going to fill in. Here's another paint blob I'm going to fill in with glaze. Here's another paint blob. And I'm noticing there's all these chunks. You guys know I hate those chunks, so I got to take some time to get those out. Here's my slip. It's clay and water combination. I'm just going to take my finger, I'm going to have some slip, and I'm going to go once over these edges. Please notice how easy or simple this can be. Take the time to do it because I will be looking at this as a part of your grade. It's a little extra. Alright. Due to making this just a quick demo, I'm going to continue to move on with how to applique. If I want a paintbrush, I can literally just take some clay, roll it out. This is a coil. And I can take this, and I want my paintbrush to be about this wide. And I'm actually going to make that little silver part that goes over the paintbrush. I'm going to squeeze right here. And then I can wrap that around. And then this can become the hair or the bristles of the brush. So if I want that to stay like that, I have to slip and score it into place. So I make my X's here. I make my X's here. I add a little slip because that part is used like glue. So in it goes. Now, the important part is to push and apply a little pressure to wiggle it just a little bit so it actually suctions together. Okay, if I want to make a piercing, I can do that, and I'm going to go all the way through and smooth out those edges. And hopefully this was a great 2-minute tutorial or 3-minute tutorial on tricks to make your project nice and successful. All right, good luck.